Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Indy, and today we're going to be reviewing Enshrouded. Rise as Flameborn, the last ember of hope of a dying race. Fight back the shroud and reclaim the land in this epic open world. The world of Enshrouded might be a static one, but it's filled to the brim with things to do. Venture into the shroud and take back elixir wells, battle giant bosses, solve puzzles, upgrade skills, and build until your heart's content, and much, much more. Getting started in Enshrouded is pretty straightforward. You find a nice spot to put down your flame altar, and this will essentially claim that section of land, and then you can go out and start finding your companions. Each new NPC you rescue will provide a service such as the carpenter, who will help you build nice things that you can put in your home. They will also provide missions for you so you can unlock more items in the game. That way you can have like the newest glider in the land and then, maybe go show it off to your friends. Or perhaps you're into gardening. Well, then you're going to need to find the farmer so you can unlock the seed pot. That way you can make your own seeds to plant in the ground. Whichever way you lean early on, just make sure to take your time. The game is huge, especially for an early access title. The majority of the map won't be accessible until later in the game, and that will only come as you upgrade your altar. There are two ways to upgrade your altar. One will claim more land for you and is pretty easy to accomplish, while the other will help you when it comes to like dealing with the shroud and the levels of that. This will require you to find certain items in the world, so that some of those will be quite difficult for you to obtain. So it's a little bit more of a, tedious little task to complete that one. It must be done, however, as it's the only way to become strong enough to make it through certain areas of the shroud. See, as you venture off into the shroud, you'll notice a timer at the top of the screen. When that timer runs out, you're dead. There is also Deadly Shroud. You venture off into this and you die almost instantly. I mean, nothing sucks more in this game than flying into the Deadly Shroud on your glider. This is why you need to upgrade that altar. Upgrading will allow you to last longer in the shroud as well, and even grant you access to that deadlier shroud. Good luck, and watch out for the red shroud, because it is bad. Alright, now it's time to choose your path. No, I'm not talking about where you want to go. I'm talking about what you want to be. That's right. You can just be whatever you want, right? You can be an archer, you can be a mage, you can be a swordsman, you can be a swordsman with a shield, or you can mix and match your playstyle, be an archer and a wizard and fight with all kinds of stuff. By the day, I'm a shield-toting, axe-bashing baddie, and by night, I'll light you up with my wand and maybe my staff. Just depends. My buddy, he's an archer, and he's trying to perfect his craft, so he's trying to get better at that, so we have a ranged fighter as well. I love the freedom with the combat in this game. Weapons will also tell you if they are effective or not when you're attacking an enemy, so that's pretty useful, and you should probably pay attention to that as you're attacking them. The skill tree will help you fine-tune your playstyle. Here you can choose whether you want to be a tank, or wear heavy armor to take the brunt for your team, or spend points in warrior and dish out the punishment yourself. But don't neglect the athleticism, though, because stamina in this game plays a huge role, especially in combat. So you might want to brush up on your potion making skills as well, because that helps with your stamina. Navigating the map is quite the task. Not only do you have to have a plan for the shroud, but there are all sorts of things that want you dead. You'll find plenty of these enemies that want you dead lurking around towns and the castle areas as well. Don't worry though, because there are some real tough ones hanging out in the shroud, just in case you have to make your way through it to get to where you're going. There are boss fights sprinkled throughout the world as well, and in other points of interest like elixir wells. You can help your cause by chopping down these shroud trees in these elixir wells and throughout the world, and that'll give you like a brief reprieve from the shroud. It will come back, however, though, so don't expect to like clear the entire map of the shroud on your first day. Alright, so you've heard a few things and some parts about the game so far, play styles, skill trees, the shroud, NPCs, upgrading your altar, amongst a few other little tidbits. But for me, the thing that I fell in love with right away is the building. The voxel world can be manipulated how you see fit. Want to dig a hole in the side of a mountain and create a cave like a home? You can do that. Want to build your own little hobbit home? Well, you can do that too. Do you want to flatten out a piece of land and build a majestic castle? Well, guess what? You can do that as well. Equipped with a pickaxe, rake, or the multi-purpose building hammer, your imagination is pretty much your own limitation. Well, that and the size of your altar. You'll need to upgrade that, so you can build in a larger area. As you progress, you'll be able to obtain different building materials such as refined stone bricks, shroud wood, metal, and just so much more building pieces. Inside your home, you'll want to carve out a nice spot for your NPC companions and their crafting equipment. Putting them outside probably is not a good idea because they enjoy being in the comfort of being indoors. Same goes for you though, as the more comfort you put into your home, the better like the buffs and stuff that you get. Lighting, tables, benches, beds, that all goes into keeping you comfortable and happy. And of course, it looks awesome when you get like really cool building stuff. I have a few things built outside, such as like a saw table, my seed plot, and that seems to be working just fine. There's no big deals, no issues there. It took me a few minutes to get down like creating the plots for growing plants, and I don't think I quite have it the way that I want it, but it's serviceable for now. Learning to manipulate the ground is definitely something you'll want to tinker with, as there's plenty of ways, that you can do it. So, yeah, just tinker, just mess with it. FYI, use your building hammer to manipulate the terrain. It definitely makes it's a lot easier, in my opinion, to use that than actually using the rake. But I've heard an argument for both, so whatever it works for you. Now, if building isn't your main focus or your main goal or whatever, you want to do, and you just want to build a little small shack for your altar and your NPCs, and that's not a problem at all. There is so much outside of building, you'll be busy doing plenty of stuff, trust me. Crafting items, for example, will have you chasing down recipes out in the world, and you know about all the dangers that are lurking out there now. In your adventures, you'll discover points of interest that will give you experience points, by the way, and also like hidden treasure all throughout the land. There is a ton of hidden things in the world of Enshrouded, so it definitely pays to pay attention and look around. For instance, we recently were pillaging a castle, and I was telling my friend about the hidden doors, and right about that time, like tucked off in a little corner behind some stuff, we stumbled across a hidden door, and there we were, rewarded with some pretty sweet weapons. You'll also find chests hidden in locations, like low locations like behind stuff and under the ground, and if you really don't look for them, you're never gonna find them. And yeah, I mean the chests are like buried under like rubble spots, and it's just spread all throughout the map. Some of them can be a little bit difficult to find, but anyways, this to me is the best way to find weapons and gear, because like most of the enemies, they don't drop those type items. They do occasionally drop weapons or something a little bit more value, but for the most part, you're just going to get experience points from defeating enemies. You do get experience points as well for like harvesting and mining and all that stuff. I love this because it keeps you searching for those rare items. You can also enhance your weapons that you get by collecting coins from defeating enemies, and you can just take those to an NPC and they'll enhance it for you. This will not only strengthen the weapon's overall damage, but it will unlock other perks if that weapon has it. So they can make your weapon pretty handy. You can break down the weapon if you don't need it or want it, and you can salvage it for more coins. And you can get a nice little healthy little stash, if you're collecting swords and stuff and everything that you don't need. Alright, now if you really want to step your game up though, you're gonna need to learn about the consumables. The things that you eat or drink. They will give you buffs that last for a certain period of time. And this can be anything from, your stamina or a larger health pool, or even more time that you can spend out in the Shroud. My advice is to just learn to farm. And if you're into survival games, then you probably already know about how important farming is in these type of games. I kind of wish there was more of a little bit survival elements when it comes to the food and some of the other consumables in the game, but maybe that will come in the future. I don't know. Again, this is an early access game. Alright, so let's talk about how well the game performs with all the things that you will be doing in the game. Well, after more than about 45 hours that I've spent in Embervale, and somewhere over 10-ish hours or so in co-op, I'd say that it runs fairly decent for early access. My solo experience went okay with a few crashes, but nothing to the point to where it made me want to stop playing the game. Of course, after a few updates that they've had now, I haven't had really any problems with that at all. I did lose a little bit of progress in the game when the crashes happened. That was a little unfortunate, but, what are you going to do? I thoroughly enjoyed my solo play as well, even though it can be a little overwhelming when you're all alone. There are times when hordes of enemies chase you down, and it can be very difficult to survive on your own. Heck, I mean, it was even tough sometimes in co-op playing with my friend. Your playthrough will progress with whoever is hosting this in co-op, though. So that means any progress that you make alone will progress the game for your friend as well. So, for example, I had already started playing before my friend and unlocked all the NPCs. When he joined, he didn't start at his own beginning in the game. He started off like in the beginning, but he started off from that point of where I was at in the game. Luckily, he didn't care. He just wanted to play the game, but I can see how this would, bother other gamers if they wanted that experience, to experience the same things that you did in the game, and they missed out on that. Perhaps there can be a solution to this later on down the road when it goes into full release. I don't know. I also really haven't experienced too many issues while playing in co-op. I'd say very minimal lag playing in co-op. The biggest issues that I've had with the game so far has been like the textures in the game popping in and out, and just not looking great at times. And come to think of it, I did experience some pretty bad lag when I was first building my home, digging into the side of the mountain. This led to a few crashes that I had, but I haven't been building much lately, so I haven't really noticed any more of that. Just roaming around my home, and even with my, in co-op and everything, it hasn't been an issue. The controls for the game, they're fine for now. Although I would like to see them a little bit more user-friendly for controllers come console release. They can be a bit tedious at the moment, and I don't know why I keep losing like function of my controller. Yes, I am a controller player, but I've been losing the function of it throughout the game. It just I don't know, sticks or whatever, and then seems like it loses connection. I don't know. Who knows what it is. I've been trying to look into it and see why it's doing it, but it's just been an issue recently. The combat system in the game, like I said, really cool. It isn't really deep, which is kind of crazy when you're seeing the different types of weapons that you can wield in this game. But they all have pretty much basic attacks. You can add some jumping attacks and double jump attacks, and some power attacks and stuff and everything. You can get a little creative with your grappling hook that you have and your glider, but for the most part, it's just kind of like a hack and slash, with your melee weapons. So basically, the combat is fun. It's simple. It's fun, but don't expect anything crazy. The world of Embervale is beautiful and full of things to discover. From mountains to plains to castles and towns, there is just really always something cool to look at around the corner. Seeing snowy mountains off in the distance, or some tall structure just peeking out above the mountains, it's just awesome. And scaling tall towers to overlook the landscape, it's well worth it. Also, in these shrines, you can fast travel to them once you reach the top. So yeah, definitely solving each little puzzle that they have that you have to reach the top. It's worth it. The map, it is massive, and it's going to take you a long time to unlock the entire thing. You can't just run from one end to the other, avoiding stuff, and thinking you're just going to unlock the whole entire map. There's just too much out there going on early on in the game. My advice, upgrade your glider though as soon as possible, because it helps tremendously getting around the map. I've also seen some people complain in the game about having no water in the game. It would be nice to see water in the game. I think it would make it absolutely beautiful. The game is beautiful already. It really is. But this is a voxel world, and it isn't the easiest thing to implement. So I can live without it, but it really would make the game look that much better. It would be super sweet to see it. I'd say my biggest gripe with the game right now would be how deadly the deadly shroud is. I get it. It's deadly. That's why it's bad. But you can at least let me have a chance if I accidentally dip my toe in it a little bit. Just getting in it and dying almost instantly, that seems just a little harsh. Enshrouded boils down to this. The world of Embervale is huge. The crafting, building, and exploring are well thought out, and wow, there is a lot to keep you busy. I've enjoyed each and every mission or task or whatever that I've been set out to accomplish, whether it be NPCs or whatever. I also enjoy finding other adventures to set out on by discovering little notes that are left behind in the world. The game is visually appealing. It can be beautiful at times, even though there are some issues with the textures popping in and out and stuff like that. The combat, I mean, it's better than I expected that it was going to be. I really didn't think it was going to be all that great, There's a lot of options for you to play around with. It's basic, but it's cool. It's all right, There are enough playstyle options to keep you and your friends happy. I was pleasantly surprised with the skill tree as well, although it could possibly use some tweaks when it comes to some of the attributes that it helps you with. It seems there's certain ones that are kind of scattered throughout the skill tree that are basically the same thing, and it doesn't really make you want to. It makes you want to like jump around it too much instead of focusing on one thing that you really, really want to. I feel like even after 45 hours that I've played, I've only scratched the surface when it comes to like getting all the weapons and the armors and the consumables and learning more about how to play the game, and discovering things in the map. There's just so much to this game. It's crazy. I find myself wanting to play more and more each day. Each time that I play, I want to hop back in, and play it some more. Every little new discovery or mission keeps pushing me forward, wanting more, wanting to discover more, which is crazy. It really is. The game is in early access, and honestly, I've seen full release games not have this much content in it. So I would say that the future of Enshrouded is very bright, even if, the world of Embervale is plagued by a shroud. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. I think King Games has a hit on their hands. I honestly have had such a great time playing this game, especially with a friend. It's been a blast. There's just so much to discover and so many things to do, and having a buddy with you is really cool as well. I have heard some issues having like a big party of players. You can have like up to 16 players at a time on one server, I guess. But I don't know. I've heard a little bit of rumblings about it, but I haven't heard much else about it as far as that goes. But yeah, the game is great. Early access game. I mean, you really can't complain much about this game being early access. There is a ton of stuff to do. You are constantly busy and trying to find new stuff and obtain items and just defeat bosses, and there's a lot of content in this game. So I don't know when they project it to come out of early access, but I can't wait, because that supposedly means when it comes to console, and I would love to absolutely play this on console as well. So I know I have a bigger, I have more friends that play on console, so I'd be able to get a bigger group of friends to play, and I think that would be an absolute blast to just play with a big group of people, building a huge giant castle and stuff, and everybody having their own rooms, and that would be awesome. So, but yeah, very much enjoyed the game. Gonna play it, gonna keep playing it. Cannot wait to hop back on later with my friend and play. We're working on getting some stuff right now to upgrade our living quarters and stuff and make life better for us at the home state. So yeah, I would definitely check this game out if you're into these type of games. But again, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.